We are about to take you on a tour of the White Castle hamburger joints in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is August 21st, 1986. And as you can see, we're in front of a White Castle hamburger joint in Minneapolis, located in the Brooklyn Center. And as you notice, we are open 24 hours a day. Now let us take you inside of the White Castle and show you how these famous White Castles are being made. Now here we are making these hamburgers. You notice the technique he uses as far as the spreading apart the onions. And here we have a gentleman who's been with the company for 45 years. Too bad that you can't have the aroma. Sir, how long have you been with the company?
45 years.
How much were they in the old days?
They were a nickel. 1921 to 1946.
What's so special about the White Castle hamburgers?
Nobody else is like them. Did you see the holes in them?
Yes, sir.
They make a joke that we're cutting down on the amount of meat with the holes in them. That's only for cook faster. We don't turn them like we used to in the olden days.
I understand that's pure beef?
100%.
100% beef. Are these the same size as they were in 1940s?
No.
The smaller?
No. They were made different then.
I see.
They were a smaller. I started with the company and they were a smaller patty, but they were thicker. And you put them on the griddle and you turn them over and then you put onions on them. These onions here come from near Sacramento, California.
Really?
Really.
I have a brother living in Sacramento.
There's a city there that you drive through on Interstate 80 and you can smell nothing but onions. And that's where they dehydrate them.
Where are those buns made?
The buns come from a White Castle bakery.
In Minneapolis?
No, in Cincinnati.
There's something special about those buns.
Nobody else has them either.
You're right. Well, I thank you very much.
The mix is made by Pillsbury for the buns.
He's making another batch of onions. You open 24 hours a day in every White Castle?
Yes.
Why is it that you're not in Los Angeles?
Because of the conservative nature of the company.
I see.
They've always been conservative and they don't want to franchise. They haven't franchised and they don't want to.
Well, I'm going to have to ship some back to Los Angeles with my nephew. My brother Sam is a connoisseur on hamburgers, and he says there's nothing like a White Castle. Thank you very much. We're going to go on to the next White Castle.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Wait a minute, wait. Is down watching the Tigers with me. I go out to dinner first at the White Castle.
That looks like a satisfied customer.
Oh, I am. I love them.
How many years have you been eating White Castles?
I can't get them all the time.
You come all the way
I
from
came from
Michigan to get one of these hamburgers.
Well, he came all the way from California for one of these.
They're wonderful. They're just out of this world. They're in a class of their own.
You got it. Customers? Young man, how many did you have just now, sir?
6 or 7.
6 or 7. How's your stomach? Yeah, you can tolerate them?
It'll be good after this one.
There you go. Ketchup or mustard?
Both.
Both.
I go with both. Grilled onions, pickles. When you really hit that pickles, when it really takes off, the taste just exemplifies the...
Only one thing would be better if your father were here to have one with you, right?
I've ever eaten like calzo with my dad. except frozen in the microwave.
What does your nephew think about them?
That's all Ben talks about.
And how about Ben's father?
He doesn't know how to talk.
Here we are on West Lake Street in South Minneapolis, and we are about to enter another White Castle. I believe here it comes some satisfied customers. You give it a couple of bagfuls.
Huh?
Could you stop for a minute, please? And I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. Have you ever heard of White Castle before?
Yes.
Yes, yes. What have you heard about them?
Well, there's this guy in the valley in Los Angeles who thinks they're the greatest.
But what do you think so far? How do you like the smell in there?
The aroma was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I think that this could attract people from other states.
You came all the way from California just to have a White Castle, is that right?
Just for a White Castle.
Would you mind telling us what you have in the bag and how many you have in there?
We have 12 White Castles, rings, fries, and 2 Cokes.
How about ketchup or mustard? Let's try one. Let's try one.
I think it's got pickles on it.
All right, there you go.
Sue, I have to defer to you, being the neophyte that I am.
No way.
All right. No, I'll hold you. First bite.
This is your first try, is that right? What do you think? What do you think there, young
As
lady?
my dad would say, heaven. Heaven. Incredible.
Now, are these the hors d'oeuvres or are these actually the hamburgers?
You can take more than one bite at a time, you know. That's it?
Steve did this with 3 bites?
Would you repeat that, please?
It's been nice talking to you.
Wasn't it worthwhile coming all the way from California?
Definitely.
It was well worth it. Well worth it.
Well, nice going.
Yeah,
How are you?
fine.
What is your name, please?
Sean.
John,
Cooper.
where you from?
Northeast Minneapolis.
You ever had a hamburger before?
Yeah,
What's the best?
I don't know.
Huh? You ever had a White Castle before?
Yeah,
Why do
White
you-
Castle's probably the best.
There you go. Thanks very much. This is what happened to our friend from California. Wasn't that wonderful? Will you come back for more? Can't talk. To take a trip around the north side of Minneapolis. And as you can see, we're at the Level Square Park on Oak Park and James and Irving. Here's Barnes Place and Irving along Irving Avenue, and that's where the Bonlicks used to live, right in the corner of Oak Park and Irving. Unfortunately, the tennis court is no longer here, and this is what remains of the old tennis court. Vic Bartnoff used to live in this house. And down the street was Turetsky's, where we used to steal apples. Mel Juster used to live there somewhere, and in 810 Irving is where Easter was born. Picture of the writer's house. And as we scan up Oak Park, there is Dr. Cohen's house, and back there is a side view of 1610 Oak Park. Remember this famous tree, and here's a couple of young ladies playing schmear. It's raining. You're playing schmear. You always play schmear? Who taught you how to play schmear?
Since our parents taught us to play.
All right.
I've done when they were little.
I think it's raining. I think we better leave.
I do it on the trainer a lot.
Could I help you up there?
All right,
What are you doing up there, fellas?
getting wet.
We're looking for good old North.
North High.
1610 Oak Park. This is where Sam Schragowitz was born. And next to us, of course, live the Shapiros. And that's the view of the tennis court. There's a house I'm sure that Harry and Yetta will remember. This is where they lived when they first got married on Oliver and 14th. One block from there was the Bethel Synagogue. It is now a pilot city connected with General Hospital. In front of 2348 Thomas, where Zadie and Esther lived for many years. They moved here from 1610 Oak Park. I wonder who's living there now. Worth Park. And we're about to see the big hill that we used to slide down. And there's the ski jump. 100 feet high. Never went up there. Long view of the 18th hole. Beautiful hit by Glenwood Lake. The real name, of course, was Butterworth Beach. And back of there is the old Glenwood Lake. And the swings where we used to play. And the park where we used to have Sunday morning breakfast. And this is the famous Glenwood Lake. That's Olsen Highway or 6th Avenue North with all the traffic. And the pump was located in that area. Our tour group here, you can see how much they're enjoying this trip. Wake up, Mike. Mike, wave to the camera. Susan, are you there? Are you having a good time? You're having a good time. Remember that. Almost over with. Now continuing our trip. And here's Knox Avenue. We're with Susanna and Rachel Goldfine. And this is what was the Jewish sheltering home where Barbara spent the early part of her life. We are now facing west on Emerson Avenue and 6th. And here is the Sumner Project. And Barbara and her mother Esther lived in this area. And here's the public library, Sumner Library. Harry and I delivered papers here in 1937 along this Sumner Project. We are now headed towards downtown. The Fauché building at once was the tallest building in Minneapolis. Now, as you can see, the skyline, it's far from the tallest. That is the IDS building we're looking at with other buildings. In the downtown area. A beautiful day today, as you can see the beautiful clouds and the blue sky. We are now on 5th and Portland, and you are seeing the remains of the old General Hospital.